On the right is the San Diego Air and Space Museum. It used to be called the Ford Building when it was built in 1935. And on the left, the Starlight Bowl, originally called the Ford Bowl. Both were built for the exposition in 1935 here in Balboa Park. That season, I believe, would have been 2012, maybe 2011 or 2013, but the theater shut down a few years ago. And here, a remnant left to show what this beautiful place once looked like. It's a holiday today too, so I don't think they have a staff anymore. It doesn't make sense to have a closed business and to have staff, but it's possible. Let's take a look over the wall. Nice little sneak peek. So that's interesting. Also, this fence here, it's got some cloth every now and then. You can see that was tied. See this right here up front here? If I can focus. Which means they likely used to have something blocking the view so people couldn't stand in here and get a free show, which makes sense. There's a brick on the ground, and there's some trash over there that hasn't been cleaned up yet, just because this is probably not the easiest place to reach. Looking along the fence toward the back here, there's some kind of dead plants around the outside, surrounded by stones. There's still some sort of scaffolding, and there are some seats up front for, I guess, VIP seating. Some kind of special front row seating. It's down below, above the orchestra pit though. Continue around, getting the feeling we're going to be able to see a few interesting things on the back side before it gets busy here in the park. Heard somebody yell at me. Somebody to the right just yelled, "Hey guy," but I don't see him. Whoa. Almost all the way down. I almost put on flip-flops this morning. That would not have been good for this. So, walking right over to here. There's a big blue painted staircase in the back here that goes up to a deck. That deck is covered by some sort of a canopy, and then you can see the sun's rising up here near the back at the top of the theater. In here on the ground, some trash, maybe from people who have been coming down here like me, or people perhaps from 3 or 4 years ago whenever the theater shut down. Alright, now for the fun part, getting back up. And this actually doesn't look like it's going to be that bad if we go up this way right here, because I'm already kind of halfway up. Big steps. All right, now we're going to go all the way around to the only side we haven't seen, which shows where the band or traveling theaters trailers would go down a hill and park. We should be able to see some more from there. Looks like there's some trucks up here making some deliveries today, early on Labor Day 2015. So I'm just going to kind of go left around them. And as usual, when I'm recording something, people just stare. In the back of the theater, you can see more now. I see some chairs sitting on the back part of the theater. I see parts of the theater, they're kind of torn up on the back top. And just a few other things kind of littered around the roof. But let's head on down here behind the gymnasium. The gym also quite old. Not sure exactly when it was built, but most of the buildings here in Balboa Park are, I believe, 80 to 100 years old, because some of them are still remaining from 1915, whenever that expo happened, but also in 1935 there was an expo as well. And making our way back up the hill here. Ew. Can't believe I touched that. I've seen a few flights come in already, and I think I'm beginning to understand that the flight path for San Diego's airport, whether arrivals or departures, looks to be right over Balboa Park and right over the Starlight Musical Theater. Another plane. And here are the other bathrooms, I believe, down here. The other ones were diagonally up on the other side of the theater, on the upper part. And I noticed the poster areas right here. Is this where they would just put what's coming up, or?
Yeah, that would be what the shows for the season, what 4 shows they were going to be showing.
And this painting over here looks like it was dedicated here, I think right before it closed. I thought I saw a date, yeah. Painting by Norm Daniels, May 25th, 2010. So it closed in 2011 or 2012? What do you remember?
It closed before that. It closed just as the recession hit. So 2008, 2009 it actually closed, but people were still coming here and working and doing stuff. So
right.
This summer internship, the last crew we had was mostly picked up through School of Creative and Performing Arts. It's a bunch of kids who love theater, but don't necessarily want to be on stage, and just love to build things and be loud and obnoxious when you can and quiet when you have to be. And we got a great bunch of kids out of it. They now work with the local 4. See, out of the last 6 interns, we had 5 or 6 interns. 4 of them are working for the local now. We have one guy up in Washington, one who's a journeyman with our local, one who's a journeyman with our local, one kid who's working to become a member.
So I got in the gym here, and It's definitely, I mean, it just has the look of one of those really old gyms where people were playing basketball for decades and decades going back. Really pretty cool. I mean, you see up here some kind of offices up there that just look like they were built many, many years ago. And there's a no smoking sign over here. This looks like it's pretty old as well. I don't think you need to say no smoking in a gym anymore, huh? And then pretty cool logo here of Balboa Park. You can hear some of the marathon people outside. As we walk over toward the Starlight Theater, there's what looks like a scoreboard I used to have whenever I played basketball in the 90s, the team I played on at my city league. Let's see over here inside, or rather outside these windows. I'm in San Diego at the Starlight Musical Theater, which is part of Balboa Park, here in a really popular area of San Diego, not only for the park, but also for its museums. And according to an article that I just found, just kind of doing a little research, this theater has been abandoned and not in use. I guess the better word would be dormant since 2011. Here are some doors. And then here's the way down the path here. It's all locked up. There hasn't been a show since 2011, and you can't get a good view just looking through any of these cracks here in the doors. But what I can do is lift my camera up and get a view for everyone else. Here's this, and now let's see what it really looks like.